Thank you, Robert. I'm Greg Albo, professor at York University in political economy and also with the Center for Social Justice. Today's discussion is hosted by the Centers for Social Justice, the Greater Toronto Workers' Assembly, and Socialist Project, which have a range of publications at the back. We're also, with these groups, active in the Line 9 campaign and the Free Transit campaign, which also has a range of brochures and materials at the back. Baitsatoon has been an important gathering place for us over the last few years. We've been hosting a lot of events here, so Robert didn't quite make the pitch, but make a pitch always to support Baitsatoon. Come out to the events. They have a range of goods at the back for sale. Olive oil is wonderful. Please support them. I should also mention that, like Baitsatoon as a gathering place, Toronto is an historical gathering place, of course, for the Indigenous peoples of this area. Historically, the Anishinaabe Mississauga, the Seneca, the Huron-Wendat, the Neutrals, and others. This is still contested territory with the land claims of the Mississauga of the New Credit, and this is part of like what we're discussing with the tar sands, is part of the issue of the colonization process in Canada and the unfinished project of decolonization. Along this line, the three speakers today we're very lucky to have here, who are three of the most important campaigners in Canada around the tar sands and climate change justice issues. The tar sands extraction issue is, of course, well known to all of us, the developments in northern Alberta, which lie on particularly Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 lands. We know that this is, in some ways you calculate it, is the biggest project in the world causing climate carbon emissions damage and the issue related to climate change. Besides that, for the Indigenous people of the area, it's a major occupation of the territorial lands. There's huge problems from the tailings, cancers, all kinds of illnesses that we'll be discussing. So it's a particularly important issue in Canada. And the campaigns over the last year has been absolutely central to political discussions in the left in Canada. With the decline or drop in the price of oil from about $110 to $120 US to about $40 to $50 right now per barrel, and the discussion of it staying in the range of $45 to $65 a barrel, there's been a lot of discussion of what this means for the tar sands, particularly because a couple of $1 billion of potential new projects have been put off for now. Some of this is already the problems that have been occurring from the movement towards extreme energy, whether it's the tar sands extraction, fracking, the offshore oil process, and so on. Some of that is partly a cause of the drop in prices. Some of it is also the decisions that have been made in the Gulf states of trying to stabilize the market share. Some of it still deals with the alternate energy sources becoming more competitive with fossil fuels in a range of areas. It's obviously causing a range of turmoil in Canada. It's particularly upsetting Harper's agenda of turning Canada into a petro state. But one has to have two cautions in this, and I'm sure Keith is going to speak to a range of those things, is of course the expansion of tar sands oil production that has occurred over the last 20 years is not receding. So the amount of oil that is still being put into production from the tar sands is not that much in decline. It's the new projects that have stalled. And the assessments from the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, the National Energy Board in Canada, the International Energy Agency, the US Department of Energy, all the key sources are looking at energy usages over the years, still have projections about extensive fossil fuel usage that will continue to break or push past the climate change parameters that have been discussed for a global warming disaster. And so there's a huge range of issues still involved in stopping the tar sands and climate transformation in Canada. And we're lucky to have some of these campaigners with us today to speak about it. we're going to kick off with, since Anna could not be here, we're going to kick off with the presentation from a short video on energy democracy that comes out of the Trade Unions for Energy Democracy and the Rosa Luxemburg Stiftung, a research group associated with the left party in Germany, Die Linke, and has a range of offices around. A number of us have been working with them on and off around this issue of energy democracy. It's a theme of some of the articles that were in the new book that was recommended as part of the reading for today. A line in the tar sands, which deals with a new book that deals with tar sands opposition and production in Canada. So we're going to kick it off with that video just to put the context of the discussion of oil and climate change, and then we're going to turn to Keith to do his presentation on tar sands and the various aspects of the campaigning going on.